On Sunday, a clip went viral on social media, drawing attention to the lead pastor of Dunamis International Church, Pastor Paul Eneche, publicly berating a woman who had come on the stage to give a testimony of what God had done to her. Pastor Paul Eneche termed what she said as a lie, and thereafter, a lot of Nigerians had many views about the way he publicly spoke about her. Today, to discuss this and more, I'm joined by Mercy Pam, an actor and a makeup artist. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Adiwale.
How do you do?
I'm fine, I'm good.
Shall we start the conversation by talking about the event itself that happened on Sunday at Dunamis Church? I understand that a lot of emotions are spreading on the internet, and people have diverse opinion about it. There are some people that felt Pastor Paul Eneche had done something wrong, and there's some people that felt that he was actually in his right opinion to have concluded that perhaps what she claimed to have a BSc in law was not a truth. But starting the conversation, I would like to you to give us a clearer understanding of what happened in the church. Do you think that was a justified opinion for some people to have?
To me, I don't see anything wrong with him trying to correct her, but though people said he said it in a wrong way and in a harsh way, that the pastor is rude, the pastor is that. She's actually a member of the church of Dunamis, because even when she was testifying, she actually stated it that her daddy in the Lord. This thing is between a spiritual father thing. So I don't know why social media are taking it too personal and as if they had him in mind. They were waiting for him to make a slight mistake. Though it's not even a slight mistake. If you go on social media, you will see where everybody is tagging him that he should come out publicly and apologize. This and that. It's not actually right. To me, if you're wrong, you are wrong. He's trying to correct
exactly. Even before we come to the conversation about the apology itself, let's talk about the action that took place at the church.
The action.
She came out and said she was able to finish at the law degree in the university, and Pastor Paul Eneche was part of the congregation at that time. He asked her, "What's your discipline? What exactly did you study?" And she said BSc. And then he thought in himself that it couldn't be BSc; it has to be LLB, because
because there's nothing like BSc in law.
So we can understand that he had an opinion in that regard, but the way he was correcting her, I think that was what people took offense with, that you shouldn't have spoken to her in such manner. Because number one, there's a thing called stage fright. This is a woman, perhaps she's not spoken to a thousand people or thousands of people at once, and she's there, she's speaking at the pulpit to thousands of people that are listening. That could be a major factor in how she was speaking on that day. Don't you think so?
To me, if you have a stage fright, that's why they have pastors that you will tell them your testimony, what your testimony is all about. Dunamis is a big church, and whenever they connect, they go live. So it's something that the pastors that are taking the testimonies, they will ask you, do you have a stage fright? Can you take this testimony, or I should take it for you? If she has a stage fright, she could have stated it to the pastor taking the news, telling him that I cannot take this. Question, yes, I also have a stage fright, because if I climb the stage and I see crowd, I will get confused. Yes, I won't even know what to say. Though I will actually arrange my thoughts, my words, but immediately I see crowd. You know when you be shivering and then all those thoughts will escape.
But let's move into how his own reaction to what has been said. You asked her a question, she didn't get it correctly. Perhaps it was a stage fright. We cannot determine that at this table right now.
At that time, she could have defended herself.
If she was not able to defend herself, was it justified that the pastor spoke to her in that manner publicly? Because a lot of people have termed it as an embarrassment, a public embarrassment for her. Do you think there was other way Pastor Paul Eneche could have communicated that?
I think there's other way you could have communicated with her. He could have waited for her to see it. But at the same time, I feel he's trying to correct her because there's nothing like VSC in law. So it shouldn't look
I mean, that's a fact, and that's what
it shouldn't look as if she's lying and the testimony she's saying is actually wrong. So that's why he has to correct her. But she's supposed to like pick the correction immediately and then realize that there's nothing like VSC in law and then state her testimony. Another
thing that a lot of people, Nigerians, would have conversation and support you is the issue of the pastor be an overseer of the church, and it has a spiritual and also the legal right to correct and also to determine what kind of testimonies come on board, because we've seen issues of people coming up just to have fame and give false testimony.
Exactly.
So it could be justified in that aspect that he has seen so many people come up with false testimony, and he wanted to set a record straight that this is not a church where we allow people to come on board and give false testimony
because of you want your face to show.
It's detrimental to the church. It's detrimental to the spiritual goal of the church itself. But the conversation still remains that there could have been better ways to communicate that wouldn't allow her to feel any form of embarrassment. I think that's a given. But let's go to how people reacted online. What's your take? Because a lot of people came for Pastor Paul Eneche and said, oh, this was wrong. He needed to come out and give his apology. He needed to do it in church. He needed to come out. And some people are saying that, okay, maybe he's a human and he made his own mistake and we need to allow him to speak. And we haven't even allowed him to speak and we are judging him. Which side of the opinion do you think you stand?
Hey, to me, people are taking it so personal. Like I said earlier, she's a member of the church. And this case has been settled immediately after service. So she's a member. And you also have pastors that will like pick the correction he did to her publicly. Someone might have like spoken to him about him, and then maybe he will pick his correction and then tell the woman to wait.
Do you think pastors have people that speak truth to them?
Yes, they do.
Do you think they are just surrounded? Don't you think they're surrounded by yes people, yes men, yes men?
No, they are not. They are not. So I believe the case has been settled. You could even see the images after the testimony. He wore same clothes and he snapped with the woman.
With the woman, exactly.
Yes, that same Sunday.
And if we can
she did not take it personal.
It's interesting that all this conversation has been happening. It's about people speaking and not the woman
not the woman herself
coming out to speak. We're going to come out to the statement that she later made. But if we look at how a lot of people, Nigerians, came online and then they went for receipts. They went back to dig photos where she at graduation for a ceremony. They went back to dig. There was a part where the printouts of the school where her name was written there as a graduate.
I think it's a noun.
Yeah, now National Open University. Her name was written there as one of the graduates of the university. So I just think in some ways you cannot fault Nigerians because we're trying to look for accountability to something. And in some instances, a lot of people have thought about pastors or reverend as people that are untouchable. Do not touch my anointed, as as most people would say. So I think if we do not have people gatekeeping and also coming out to say, okay, you've done this wrong, let us see how we can prove it that it is not wrong. So I think a lot of people coming out, it's also helpful in some ways.
Exactly.
Because it allowed the church to reach a conclusion, which led to the newsletter that they gave out.
Yeah. So
don't you think that a lot of Nigerians in some ways are justified in their own opinion as well?
They have to, because as a law student coming out and you're a graduate, no matter, you come out and then you embarrass the university, you embarrass yourself, you embarrass your family. I think.
Let me give you an instance. I was speaking to someone before we started this conversation, and this person was telling me that this is a woman whose family, none of her family members are university graduates. And interestingly, this is a woman who has started working before she decided to further. She said she started this degree 2014, and she's just graduating just recently. So perhaps she's had different lives, she's had it rough all through this time. We cannot tell. So perhaps our focus would not be about spoken English. It would be about getting that degree itself. So perhaps if you cannot express yourself fluently in English, is that a problem? Do you think that was what was realized on that?
We have many graduates that don't know how to speak fluently, but if you give them written, they are good in writing.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why some of them before they talk or before they go on a presentation, they will have to like write their words for them to practice and rehearse their words. So I feel you can be a graduate, a first class graduate, and then sometimes I say stage fright will stop. There's something about this stage fright. Stage fright causes damage to you because that confidence in you that you want to speak to this person, but you cannot speak to that person. Just the fear of like starting a conversation and then the rest. So yeah, I feel.
Yeah, of course.
I feel honestly. I don't know.
I understand the conversation can be very emotional for people to have. And looking at a person itself, this is the person of this woman that we're talking about, Ayun, that we're talking about, and also the church itself.
Yeah.
But looking at the broader perspective, you talked about education. And if we look at that and look at how our education system is being defined, a lot of people are having conversation. Are we churning out graduates that cannot even defend the degree that they've gone for several years in the university?
10 years.
Well, we don't know how she came about 10 years, because if you're studying law in Nigeria, you don't have to take 10 years to. So, but perhaps she had a lot of difficulties in between. So Nigerians are asking these questions. If we have a graduate that cannot defend their qualification, what exactly are Nigerian universities? What are they churning out as graduates for us in this country?
To me, I feel Nigerians should upgrade their education system. Yes, because you go to university. I think if she stated that she's supposed to graduated, her course is for 6 years, and then she had to stay for 10 years. So I feel the Nigerians should upgrade their education system.
Exactly, and I think a lot of Nigerians would agree with you. But also looking at, I mentioned earlier, religious leaders, imams, pastors, even traditional rulers, traditional religious people as well. It's very difficult, very difficult for some people to reach them, or for some people to correct them. So I was asking you earlier, are there channels? I'm sure you're a devoted Christian as well. In your church, or what you've understand, I'm sure for Muslims as well, and for other traditional worshippers, are there channels with which you can communicate to this spiritual leader, even if they've done something wrong? Because I think that's one of the positions that people are coming at. Religious leaders are untouchable. They cannot be questioned. They cannot be queried when they do something wrong, because we're all humans at the end of the day. And this is not even attacking Pastor Paul Eneche as a pastor or as anybody, but we're looking at him as a human, as a mortal being that can make mistake and can make amends to it. So are there channels that people can speak to religious leaders?
Yes, there are channels. Like if you can't even meet the pastor physical, there's a phone number where you can send in a message. Like,
and you think that will be attended to?
It will. It will, because they're also women. Like they have people that go through messages, and if it is a correction, they are also leaders that are assigned to do that. So the message will definitely get to him.
Exactly. But now let's look at the apology itself. And people have a lot to say about it. Some people said, okay, this is just a newsletter. Some people are saying this is not an apology. But what exactly would you say about it? They released an official statement on Miss Ayem Veronica Nnena's testimony. So the church came out to say that the pastor had to defend what's it called, the essence of the spirituality of the church, about truthfulness, that you couldn't come on stage on the pulpit or the stage to talk about the testimonies that you do not have. So that was the angle with which Pastor Eneche was coming. So they defended, they said, oh, it wasn't wrong, it wasn't right for... The intention was not to make her feel embarrassed, it was not to make her feel anyway, but it was to protect the integrity of the church. So they had a lot to say about the newsletter that they released, but some people were still not satisfied with that.
To me, that letter is a letter of justification. It's not an apology letter.
It's not an apology?
No, it's not an apology.
So you don't think it was an apology?
Yeah, it's not an apology letter, because that letter...
Do you think she deserves an apology?
Does she even deserve an apology?
She doesn't.
But the social media said she as in the person needs to apologize to her. But to me, I feel that letter is not coming from Pastor Paul and
Yeah, of course, it's coming from the management
yes, the
of the church.
management of the church. It's not coming from him. But the way social media has been saying he should come out publicly to speak and apologize to her before the case will go down. I think it's not a big deal to him. It's not a big deal for him. He can come out, and moreover, it happens on Sunday in church.
So we are waiting
on Sunday to come, because during the service, I believe and I trust him. He will do that. He will apologize.
He will apologize.
So apology is not
a big deal.
Apology is not a big deal. But I don't know why people, the social media, still take it personal.
But don't you think for some people, perhaps this is not to satisfy public opinion? Because thereafter, this newsletter came out, we also had a short video clip of Pastor Paul Eneche, his wife, and this Miss Veronica in the middle, and they were talking, and Veronica said everything is settled.
I
don't want to talk about it. These are my spiritual fathers. It wasn't anything. We are all cool, but people still criticized the video because they were not talking. Pastor Paul Eneche and his wife were not talking in the clip that we saw. So it's still the woman that was offended. People are saying this, and it's still the woman that is still talking.
Because she did
so
not
where
pick
is their
it.
position?
She did not pick it, and she picked her correction from there because she knows that she was wrong. She was not supposed to say what she said on Sunday.
Yeah.
So she picked the correction. So that's why she has to come publicly.
I understand about the issue of the correction. About the issue of the correction. But if we look at it holistically, do you think if she deserves to be apologized to, would you want the apology to be public, or would you want the apology to be done privately? Is it even in your position to determine how the apology should be made? I think it should be Veronica's. Don't you think so?
Exactly. He has not offended me, and if I'm wrong, yes, no, he has not offended me. So, if to me, if I want to give a testimony, and then what I said or the word I said was wrong, and then they corrected me,
you're going to trend on the internet.
Exactly. So to me, honestly, the apologies is between the two of
Pastor
them.
Paul and
yes, and that issue has been settled. On Sunday. So that's why.
But just to end this conversation, you agree that the apology should be private, but other people will also say this service was televised to Nigerians, and Nigerians were parts of the conversation that day, were part of the service that day. We experienced the issue that happened that day, and we also want to experience it when it is closed. You cannot give us this and then you go back to closed door to finish off everything. But that's where we have to draw the curtain for this conversation today. The conversation is already over because both parties are already together.
Yeah, they're
together. They both learned from this mistake, this issue that happened.
We don't know what they have already discussed. Exactly.
They're already moving forward.
They even made a video and then posted on social media for them to see. The woman had to even say something and said, what did you say? The video was all about
it was over. That the conversation was over.
Exactly.
She's not taking offense.
Make everybody rest.
But we cannot deny that Nigerians are still hungry for Pastor Eneche to come out and publicly apologize to her. But whichever
I trust the pastor.
Yeah, exactly. Whichever point we belong, I think that will still manifest perhaps in recent or soon. I want to thank you very much for being a part of this conversation. It's been an insightful one so far.
Honestly, I'm so happy to be in this team.
Thank you. We can't wait to have you back again. And that's where we draw the curtain for the conversation today. Whether or not you believe in public or private apology, I believe it's all left to Veronica to decide what she wants and how she wants to move on with this issue. My name is Adewale Olashokwan. You've been watching THESTEAM. Follow us on all our social media platforms to stay up to date with our latest information or programs that we bring your way. Until next time, bye for now.